Alright, welcome back everybody to round 9 of this Season 3 Dryland Racing League calendar. We come here for the first time to Japan, and last time out in Singapore, our Season 3 World Champion was decided. 3 seasons on the trot, KP taking home the crown. Let's hope next season he can have some more competition. And we do get more of a title fight, but focusing on qualifying here, Q1, about 15 minutes remaining in the session. A Dawson pulling back into the pit lane, so we will go with someone who's about to start their lap, and the Haas is about to set off. So quite a technical track, Japan, lots of curbs that can unsettle the car. Especially in the first sector with the S section. So for any car that's not a Red Bull, it would be better to keep off the curbs. Line is going to pick up a little bit of traffic, but the Williams manages to get out the way fairly quickly. So as I said, last time out, KP was crowned our world champion. He won the Singapore Grand Prix, but it was a 2-3 for Ferrari for the first time this season, so a decent result for then T. Crombie picking up P4 in the Haas. So a stellar job from him. Liam P5, and then came the 2 Alfa Romeos, Watermelon in the McLaren P8, Green Dragon, who was on loan from Alfa Romeo to Red Bull, finishing 9th, and then the Line Cookie finishing in 10th. So he will be looking for a better weekend as he gets a little bit wide on the edge of Spoon there. Joshu goes quickest with a 1:30.7, so that is a benchmark for the drivers to catch. And a 1:30.7 is very quick from an Alfa Romeo, but we can see what the likes of KP, Keanu has retired. Not sure why that is. We have yellows all over the circuit. Circuit goes back to green. The Line Cookie a 1:31.8, so 1.1 off the pace of Joshu, who could might be in contention for pole position. I think he is around esports pace, so I don't expect anything less. But we'll continue with the Ferrari on his lap. No Mini commentating alongside me this weekend, because he has gone to watch basketball. But there goes KP to the top with a 1:30.2, 5/10 quicker than Joshu. Thomas slipping into P3 as well. Ben Finch is out on the mediums, like a few of the drivers out there. Same with Joshu, KP, Kiernan, Mink, and then a few of the midfield pack. So there is 19 drivers tonight, so 4 will be eliminated in this first session, and then we'll have an extra 5 in Q2, and then into Q3 it will be the top 10 shootout. So we will see who can take pole position. Ben Finch across the line does a 1:31.2, slots himself into P3, so a good lap time from him. T. Crombie picking up a bit of traffic there from Reese Thomas, I believe, on his lap, so I'm sure he'll have something to say about that when he goes back into the pit lane. But VRT Robin crossing the line, going P7 in the Williams, ahead of the McLaren and Pam Polly, who did not set a genuine lap time. But we'll continue with A. Dawson on his lap. He will be definitely in contention for pole position, around the same pace as KP, maybe even quicker. But we'll have to see if he is consistent enough to challenge him as he heads now towards Spoon Curve. His debut for... Is this his debut? I believe it's his debut for Red Bull. Maybe not. Maybe. I believe it is his debut. I can't remember whether he drove in the McLaren last week. Yeah, actually, I think he did. So his debut for Red Bull, but not in Dryline Racing League. He did race against for McLaren, and he is going to go to the top by 2/10 to his teammate. So a good lap from him. Both of them on the medium tyre. 5 and 6 at the moment is to AlphaTauri, who have both opted for the soft along with the line compute, who is improving in his time, but he has invalidated, so it's not going to count. We have Jamir in the first sector. I'm sure the Williams is not handling too well. This is only his outlap, but it seems a lot of understeer and oversteer at the same time for him, so it's going to be hard to counter that on his qualifying laps. Don't know whether Ted is on a quick lap or a in lap. I think he's on a quick lap, because his previous time was only a 1:33.6. He's 1.4 seconds quicker, so I think this is a push lap for him as he comes in to the final couple of corners and crosses the line. 32.6, so slots into P9, 3/10 off of his teammate, and close to BLT Robin. Pam Polly crossing the line and going up into 4th place, so a decent lap time from him. We are still waiting on lap times from 6 drivers. Worthless Eagle on his outlap, along with Kiernan, who has been caught in a spin. Mink is still in the garage. Jamir is about to start his lap. There is A. Dawson spinning it in the gravel. So something's happened to him at the final corner. But yeah, let's see how the Williams can handle in the first sector. Go on board with Jamir. Lots of understeer, bit of oversteer, and he's had to counter it, just slipping off the circuit. And this Williams does not look too good to me, having to take a massive lift coming off a Dunlop curb. And I don't know whether Jamir is going to continue this lap or whether he's going to box. Joshua has now retired on track, so the man that was in P3 has dropped to the back. I don't know whether he meant to do that, or whether he's just out due to damage. We're not going to see it on board with Kiernan. The accident has been cleared. Is there seriously no off-board cam for the first sector before she's on board? Sign better drivers. Oh, Jamir is off into the barriers at the final corner, and the Williams is out of qualifying. He's still in P17, so what he can hope for is 2 of the bottom 2 to not set a lap time, but OTLR Jack is on a push, and Saeed is yet to come out of the garage. Joshua said he had an accident, so I assume that means he crashed out, but we'll have to wait and see. As OTLR Jack goes into P10, so a good lap time from the Alfa Romeo. Worthless Eagle is going to go for a second push lap, so we'll stay on board with him, invalidating the first, so it's not going to put a time on the board for him. Does it actually give you an onboard for the first sector every time? It probably does, doesn't it? Oh, Worthless Eagle spinning at the second corner, taking too much curb on the outside, and that has sent him spinning round, and he is have to go for a third lap. Those tyres are only 1 lap old, so if he has the pace and fuel, he can probably carry on. But not the start to Q1 he would have wanted. I'd like to see how much time we have left in Q1, but it's covered by yellow flags. 5 minutes 30 remaining on the clock, so these Mercedes are going to have to get a move on. Mink is currently on a push lap, going purple sector 2 as he comes into the final 2 corners. You want to take a lot of curb on both of them, to be fair, and then get the power down and drive to the line, and he puts himself into P3, so a good time from the Mercedes. Worthless Eagle, on the other hand, had a spin, so if he has the fuel, he's got 2.4 laps. He might pull in. He's not. He's going to go for another push lap. So he's going to need to nail this one. Saeed is still not coming out the pit lane. He's going to wait till the last gasp to put a lap in. But let's see, second time around, if Worthless Eagle can nail the first 2 corners. And it seems that he has not spun yet, taking a lot of curb on that inside. But there is actually an off-board camera. Hopefully we get this for the race start. And not an on-board, but you never know. Decent first sector from him. And around Dunlop curve he goes to complete the first sector. It's a 32.9, 11.5 seconds up on his previous, but obviously he did spin on that lap, so it's not anything to go off. At the moment we have Saeed now out of the pit lane, along with VRT Robin and Mink, who is on an in lap. So we'll still continue on with Worthless Eagle and see if he can get himself up into the top 15, or whether it's going to be a short Q1 exit for him. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. And around the final corner for him. Little snap on the exit, but it's good enough for P4, so a decent time from the Merc, and he can finally pull into the pit lane. Saeed on his outlap. Reese Thomas has now been pushed into the drop zone as he is coming out with 3 minutes remaining on the clock. See if he can get himself out of Q1. There's not really a lot of movement right now. Worthless Eagle has sent for another spin on the screen curve. Reese Thomas, not a lot of people out. VRT Robin has invalidated. Race prediction. Dave, comment. Provide some entertainment. Ted is now in the drop zone, so he comes out for a second lap. We have 50 seconds left on the clock, and this is going to be the last lap for Rhys Thomas, currently sat in P17, looking to improve on that if he wants to make himself clear into Q2. His teammate Mike currently sat in P11, so he is, I'd say, safe, but the gap is only 4/10 to the drop zone, so don't know. 3 retirements so far in Q1. Keanu, Jameer both crashing out, along with Joshu, who crashed out off camera, so we didn't really see what happened to him. But he crashed out, is all we know. As Rhys Thomas comes to the end of his lap, last 2 corners to conquer. This is last gasp. The checkered flag is out. Rhys Thomas crossing the line and manages to get himself up into P9, which will be safe of the drop zone. The line cookie improving by 4/10. Where can he put himself? He goes now up into P8, pushes Kiernan into P14, and he could be out if T. Crombie and OTL Jack can get a lap together. The furthest along is T. Crombie, who's at Spoon Curve. We have the checkered flag is out, so these are the laps that count. We only have 4 drivers out on track. T. Crombie trying to make his way out of Q1, 7/10 quicker than his previous best as he comes into the last 2 corners. Can he make it through into the second part of qualifying, going a bit deep on the second curb, crossing the line, and puts himself up into P6, so definitely safe for him. Kiernan is now down into P16 and out of Q1. OTL Jack, can he get his Alfa Romeo out of Q1, or is it going to be a double knockout for the Italian team? He is improving, but is it by enough? He only needs 4/10, and this could put Mike out of qualifying if he crosses the line and manages it. He crosses the line and gets himself up into P8, and I think that means Mike Beardorf is out of qualifying if he gets pushed down below the Alfa Romeo, which he did. So Mike out of qualifying in Q1, along with Kiernan, Keanu, Jameer, and Joshu, who retired from the session. And that is an upset in Q1. Mike out of qualifying, and he will not be participating in Q2. But on to Q2 we go, and after we've lost 5 drivers from the session so far, we can move on to Q2. Bro, I'm putting some music on, this is so dead. Do you reckon like Crofty or anything like listens to music? I bet he does. He's definitely that type of guy. On to Q2. Red Cow Racing is first out on the track. No Dylan tonight, so that's why you're not seeing an Alfa Romeo go out instantly. Don't know where Dylan is, to be fair. On board with a Red Cow Racing, I'll just go with an audio lap. Red Cow Racing invalidating that lap time, so it's not going to mean anything for the final sheets. Reece Thomas is starting. The line cookie though is completing his lap, and he puts himself to P1 with a 1:31.7, the first man to cross the line, so I'm sure we'll have people go faster. But the line cookie aim to get into Q3, or just a high 2Q position. VRT Robin only going 100th slower, and then Thomas blasting out the park with a 1:30.9. We have Pam Polly crossing the line, go into P1, 4.5 tenths clear of his team, of his mate Thomas. We then have KP pulling into the pit lane. Mink invalidating at the final corner, so he's going to have to go for a second lap. Ben Finch coming to the end of his lap as well. See if he can put his Ferrari to the top of the timing sheets, and he does by a 10th to the Alpine, but it is good enough for P1. Saeed letting Reece Thomas through, who's on a quick lap, so we can see where this puts him. And he goes up into P4, so not a decent time from him. And VRT Robin and A. Dawson look like they made a bit of contact there, or maybe A. Dawson was just approaching the scene as we flicked on, but maybe a bit of contact. No damage to the Williams, so nothing to box about, but we'll see. We'll go with A. Dawson for his lap and see where he can put his Red Bull. Hopefully P1 for him, and we could see a good fight between him and KP today. A. Dawson now starting his lap, and the Red Bull handling will handle quite nicely over the S-curbs. And the car looking very hooked up for him, able to take a lot of curb without much fight back from the car. Around Dunlop curb we go. He has his teammate in front of him, so no traffic for him. It's just him and the track. A 32.7 for the first sector. A decent sector from him, and into the hairpin of turn 11, and continuing on with his lap towards Spoon Curve for this lap. Currently P10, but only 6 drivers have set a lap time, so quite a few yet to get a lap in. We have 7 minutes and 50 seconds remaining on the clock. A. Dawson now coming down towards 130R. And he is able to go up into P1 by 7/10 to the Ferrari. A very good lap from the Red Bull. KP now starting his lap. As well able to take a lot of curb. So the Red Bull is very, very stable. Obviously is not sacrificing any speed in the straights. But KP getting a little slide. Werther's Eagle also made himself up to P3, so a good lap time from the Mercedes. There's quite a big gap between the Red Bull and the Mercedes, especially at a high-speed circuit like Suzuka, but it seems to be the case everywhere. KP Games crossing the line and going up into P2, so a 10th off his teammate, and this might be the challenger we've always waited to see. A. Dawson versus KP, separated at the moment by only 1/10. 9:50 for the line. No, Secondi getting on the grass there. I'm not sure why. But Red Cow Racing now going for his lap. We'll go on board with him. Red Cow losing it on the curbs, and he is not going to have a lot of time left. He is fueled for 4 laps, so that is good enough to do another lap, and then an in-lap after that. Mike rejoining the session. Says his gas pedal was broken, so hopefully he fixes it for the race. On the track for the first time in Q2. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Bloody hell, commentating qualifying is so dead. Fuck you, Mini. One minute 30 remaining, so this is going to be the last lap for Thomas. Yeah, logic. Some fucking dickhead destroyed the 50-meter board at Degma 1. Do it, Jiggly. I'm gonna have to find out. The 50-meter board is still there. I said you have to find out. Hey, you can't see me. Red Cow Racing completing a lap, but it's not going to be good. And he has 30 seconds to improve on his P8. He's currently safe by 6/10. But I'm sure he'd like to improve on that by a bit more. Thomas currently in the second sector. I haven't seen his sector split yet, but he is improving. Rhys Thomas stays in P10, improving on his time though. By 3/10, I believe. So, gonna need a big improvement. OTR Jack is out of qualifying in P11. The Line Cookie also out of qualifying in P12. Saeed not setting a lap time. Rhys Thomas has time to go for another lap. He's 3/10 up in the first sector. Can Thomas improve on his time? He goes up into P7. Ted is not going to complete another lap, so he is going to have to wait and hope. Red Cow Racing currently going around Spoon Curve, and we can wait and see if he can improve his time enough to progress into the top 10 shootout, as he is 4/10 down on his time. So he is going to need a massive final two corners if he wants to get any chance of hoping to get through into the third part of qualifying. And he is going to cross the line and not improve on his time. So he stays P9. Rhys Thomas is safe. Nobody improving behind him. But I'm sure he'd like to complete this lap. And he stays in P10. So the top 10 is 2 Red Bulls, 2 Mercedes, 1 Ferrari, 1 Alpine, 2 AlphaTauris, 1 Haas, and a McLaren. OTR Jack, the Line Cookie, VRT Robin, and Saeed all out in Q2. And we can now progress to the final part. come out because someone destroyed the braking board. Have another point that you use to recognise where you're going to be braking, because just relying on the braking boards is not going to work in league racing. Your voice is you seem lonely. I am lonely, Logic. I'll be hyped when we get into the race, but qualifying is so dead to a... Yeah, but like the braking board is so far off. I can't read the rest of the comment. What are you saying? It's so far off the track. Is there not like a, I don't know, like a tree or a bit of the Armco barrier that you can use? Because I'm sure it's going to get destroyed in the race. Calling it right now, lap 1, there's going to be a crash at Degner 1. Calling it. No, it's fencing track. I don't know then. But you might want to find something different. Yo, Saeed. What's going on? Hey, Dawson and Ben Finch both coming out the pit lane. Bye. Yeah, there is a 15 spot on the wall, but it feels like it's later than the 50-meter board on the ground. Oh. Oh! I get what you mean. Wait, let me watch Ben Finch. See if I can... Nah, they're the same place. Trust. It may be like a... Nah, they gotta be the same place. They wouldn't make them not the same, you know what I mean? Maybe it's because... yeah. It's probably just like the illusion. It's probably the same though. If it gets broken in the race, then just use the wall. Red Bull releasing on the 3rd of February is early. I don't know why it gets hyped for like Red Bull's car reveals. It's just the same car every year. We'll go with A. Dawson for his lap. See what kind of provisional pole time he can set. The first man out on track that's going to set a lap time. So we'll see if he can improve on his first sector. He said he fucked up the first sector on his Q2 lap. So see if he can improve it. Fred got on board with him real quick. No, I think he has a little left, but most of it's flat. A. Dawson continue on now. He has only killed for 1 lap, so steaming up he's going to get. And a 12.2 for the middle sector. Pretty good to me. Now into the final 2 corners. A bit slow on the first, but getting the power down and crossing the line is good enough for a 28.2. Ben Finch only managing a 30.0. So he's going to need a massive improvement if he wants to come close to that time. Pam Polly now crossing the line, goes up into P3, only a tenth off Ben. Thomas crossing the line, 2.7 off the pace. Mink goes up into P3, 1 second off. KP has invalidated. Has he? This is the track maps in all different colours. Yeah, he has invalidated. So not the lap for him. Red Cow Racing now coming around the final 2 corners and crossing the line. Good enough for only P16. P16, P6, because he must have made mistakes on that. T Crombie though has not made a mistake, kept the lap valid up till now. As KP gets out the way by stopping on circuit, which is alright. T Crombie now crossing the line and puts himself up into P5, so ahead of Thomas and Red Cow, which is a very good lap time from him. KP now starting his first lap after his invalidation. 2.1 laps of fuel in the Red Bull, so he should have enough to complete this lap. We'll go off board with him. The music is so bad. KP now coming up to 130 yards. Thomas left the session, so network problems for him. A. Dawson forgot to pit, so he's wandering around. KP 4 tenths off A. Dawson after the first lap. A. Dawson is currently on low fuel because he forgot to pit. And the only man we are waiting on is Worthless Eagle. Reese Thomas has retired. I don't know whether that was on track. Don't care if it's on track. Worthless Eagle now starting his first lap. Three minutes left in the session. I think we'll start to see some cars coming up the pit lane to start their final laps. But Worthless Eagle, this is probably going to be one of his final laps in qualifying. He still has 2.4 laps of fuel. I think by now his tyres will... Oh, this is his first lap. Oh, my bad, first lap. So he has now crossed the line and put himself up into P3, so a very good time from Worthless Eagle. We now have A. Dawson out on track. But A. Dawson, a few more now coming out. Ben Finch, Pam Polly, Worthless Eagle is pitting. Thomas is also out. And most of them coming out. KP, yeah, he is coming out. So we will see the world champion out for a final lap of qualifying. A. Dawson now on his final lap of qualifying. We have 8 cars out on track. Worthless Eagle staying in the pit lane after putting himself up into P3. Mink is now coming to the end of his lap. Or is he starting? Oh, Mink's starting. So Ted must be coming to the end now around the final 2 corners. Can he improve on his P7 as he crosses the line? Why are you all baiting me out and going for a second flyer? Fuck you lot. You want to do it as well, aren't you? Yeah, honestly, fuck you lot so much. Thomas is actually on a genuine lap, I believe, but A. Dawson is coming around Spoon and onto 130R, so he will be finishing his lap, and he's gone a 10th faster than his previous best. So can he get himself and improve his provisional pole position around the final 2 corners and towards the line? What's it going to be for him? It's a 28.7, a 10th and a half faster. That is the provisional pole time to beat. Can Ben Finch cross the line and improve and maybe challenge A. Dawson's pole position? I don't think he's going to be able to do that, but he can improve on that P5, maybe ahead of the Mercedes. Thomas now finishes his qualifying. He's only P8. Ben Finch crosses the line and goes up into P3, jumping both the Mercedes. Next to cross the line will be Mink, who's gone 2.5 tenths quicker, which at the moment will be good enough to overtake Ben Finch again and get himself onto the second row. Can he do it as he crosses the line and only stays P5, so lost a lot of time in the final corner. Red Cow Racing now crossing the line and he goes up into P7. KP crossed the line and he's half a tenth down on his teammate A. Dawson, taking home his first pole position in his first race for Red Bull, but it didn't come easy. KP challenging him all the way to the line. A great lap from the 3-time world champion, but not good enough to beat his teammate. He's half a tenth down, and this is going to be an interesting race between the two of them. Ben Finch keeping that P3. Alongside him will be Worthless Eagle on the second row. Mink and Pam Polly will share the third row after Pam Polly either retired or DNF'd from the session. Red Cow Racing stays P7 with T. Crombie alongside him on the 4th row, and then come Thomas and Rhys Thomas on the 5th. So a very good qualifying from KP and Dawson. There we go then. A. Dawson taking home his first pole position for Red Bull in his first race for the Milton Keynes outfit. KP taking home P2, denied pole position. Ben Finch, Worthless Eagle, 2nd row. Mink, Pampoli on the 3rd. Red Cow Racing and T. Crombie on the 4th. T. Crombie actually is in an AlphaTauri sandwich with Thomas and Thomas, locking out the 5th row. No formation lap, so straight into the race as soon as the 15 seconds are out. And we can see whether A. Dawson or KP can get a better run off the line. Hopefully we get a decent camera angle for the race. Here we go then. 1 second until we get the 5 red lights on ahead of the drivers. And who out of the Red Bulls can lead into the first corner? The lights are out, but as always, we do have the glitch, and now they're gone. KP, though, on the inside, seemed to get the better launch. But here comes Worthless Eagle. He's up ahead of KP. Same with Ben Finch. A. Dawson into the first corner. Ben Finch making his way up into P3, making a bit of contact with Worthless Eagle on the hards. We have yellow flags in Sector 1. The McLaren of Rhys Thomas has spun round. KP losing 2 places on the start. T. Crombie making his way up into P5. Mink down to P6. And then we have Rhys Thomas, who made contact at the start. He has dropped from P10 to last. A. Dawson, though, got a good gap to Ben Finch ahead of him. Is KP going to look for a move on the Mercedes? Got a terrible launch and is down to P4, but fighting in the midfield pack. VRT Robin getting all over the curbs, beaching his car, and he has made didn't make contact. Mike is now out of the session. We have yellows all over the circuit, and I don't know whether we have a safety car or a VSC. So I think we have a VSC, so the day turns from bad to worse for Mike. He is out of the session on the first lap. His teammate down in P18, so we will have to see after the race what the collision was for both of them to drop to the back. I don't think they made contact with each other, but definitely something happened. Are we under VSC or are we not? I'm so confused. I don't think we are. Alright, back to green flag running we go. A. Dawson gets a good jump, 7/10. The gap. KP, though, on the inside of Worthless Eagle and gets that move done into the first corner. That might be clinical for his races. Ben Finch spins round on the first corner. KP Games has made up 2 places on this race start. A. Dawson now has a 2-second gap. Ben Finch dropping to the back of the grid. So the Ferrari is an absolute shocker on the restart. The Line Cookie and Joshu both in the pit lane. Keanu made his way up into P10 as A. Dawson now retires from the session. The race leader is out in the barriers on the right-hand side. KP Games has now got P1. He went from P3 to P1 on the restart, and he didn't even have to overtake anybody. A. Dawson is out of the session. talk about consistency. He lasted 1 lap in the lead. We might see it from the Line Cookie's POV. But A. Dawson, our race leader, is out of the race. We lost Ben Finch at the first corner. We lost A. Dawson at the 6th. What is going on this race start? And the man who we thought might take his first race victory is now out of the session, and KP and Worthless Eagle are going to be battling it out. T. Crombie has made his way onto a provisional podium. KP now setting the fastest lap of the race. Mink is up into P4. Jameer making up 11 places on that race start is up into P8. A. Dawson has now left the session. Ben Finch down 10. His teammate up 6, now up 5. There's a few team orders at Ferrari. Keanu letting through his teammate on his last race in Dryline Racing League. But no Red Bull spins this time at Dunlop Curb. And Worthless Eagle can try chase after the Red Bull, but he is on the hard tyres. The only driver on the hard tyres, so he's going to be put under pressure by T. Gromby here for P2, and this battle could get quite interesting between the two of them. Ted, man, you're so out of place. Is T. Crombie going to go for a move into the first corner? Leaves a bit of time on the exits. That's obviously not going to help him. Thomas, though, is close onto the back of his old rival. And we can see if he's going to go for the move, but we're currently looking at his head and not at the driver, as they're going to go side by side into the first corner. Bit of contact made between the two of them, and it looks like Thomas is going to get that move done. Why were we staring at their heads as he's going for an overtake? I don't know. But Keanu's staying quite close to the back of Ben Finch, who we let past last lap. But Pampoli now down to P6. Thomas up to P5. Mink still chasing after T. Crombie, who's lost a bit of time to the Mercedes. KP pulling a nice gap out in front. 2.1 seconds at the moment. Line Cookie had to box for damage on lap 1. Same with Red Cow Racing and Joshu, who is now in P15. Kiernan, who bigged himself up for the race, is 5 seconds off the pace at the moment. T. Crombie is now putting the pressure on Mink. So we'll see, he is using the ERS, same amount of ERS for the two of them. Mink quite low, around 40%. You can see this time with the DRS if he can make the move into the first corner. 4 tenths back, but is not going to be close enough on this lap. I love to see a Haas chasing after a Mercedes. Even if he is on the hards, still funny. And T. Crombie is gonna, you might as well go for this. The worst. Oh, Jameer, I think, has gone for a spin at the first corner. And as we saw in qualifying, the Williams not handling the curbs at all. Joshu is setting the fastest lap, but he is only in P15 after boxing. T. Crombie is now a second behind the Mercedes, so lost a bit of time, but he is close to Mink. So we can see Kiernan now having a spin at Dunlop Curb. Kiernan, if you complain so much about KP having a traction control, it looks like you might need it. Only a suggestion. But we'll focus on the top 4 for the moment. Mink chasing after after T. Crombie, who has regained the DRS on the Mercedes, so it's going to help him protect from the car behind and see if he can make a move on this straight. But it looks like he's too far back for now. Let's look. Oh, stop giving me this camera angle. Thomas, make a TikTok out of this. Ben Finch picking up a penalty. Reese Thomas now getting ahead. Or was he already ahead? I'm not too sure. What has ever happened, I'm not sure. We have yellow sector 1. Saeed going for a spin into the barriers. And it seems like the car's intact, but he has dropped all the way to P13. So quite a few spins on the opening laps. We are on lap 6 of this Grand Prix, and there is a Ferrari round, and that is Ben Finch for the second time going for a spin. And he is going to get ahead of the Williams, but yeah, we'll see. T. Crombie again is going to have to use the ERS if he does want to regain the DRS, but I don't think he's going to fight this one. I think he is just going to let the Mercedes go down his inside as they go side by side into the last corner. T. Crombie slots in behind. He's not going to pick up the DRS. That is going to go to Mink, so that's going to help Mink pull away from the Haas. T. Crombie not using the ERS either. Mink is on 8%, so that'll be a good indication for T. Crombie if he chooses to attack in the next couple of laps. Pam Polly has now been overtaken as he goes for a spin. A lovely little 360. He does keep on going though, but he has lost 2 places now to OTLR Jack and Thomas Annie, so we can see whether these two have a little scrap on the racetrack. Yellow's sector 1, and I believe that is VLT Robin. So again, the Williams are not enjoying the curbs around this track, and a weekend to forget at the moment. To be fair, they are only P11 and P12, so the race isn't going too badly, and we are yet to see a safety car, even though it is on standard, so we should be seeing a few more. T. Crombie staying within the DRS quite comfortably of Mink. KP now has a comfortable 4-second gap. Mink is not defending, but he is going to be closed in on by the Haas, who at the moment is challenging both of the Mercedes. We're on lap 8 of this race, so almost a third into it. Yet to see any fights at the front, apart from spinning and crashing, which was displayed by Ben Finch and A. Dawson. A. Dawson, the only one out of the session. Ben Finch is still inside the points, but he is only P10. I'm always watching. As you should, Dave. Dave, give me some race predictions for the checker flag. T. Crombie again getting the DRS. So we could see him maybe go for a move on this lap. He is using the ERS slightly. Mink is also slightly gaining it back. and I believe that is... I think that was Jameer that went for another spin. KP to win by 10 seconds, me to shoot myself. Yeah, that's fair enough. I would have some ballsy race predictions, but after seeing A. Dawson fucking commit, I think KP wins this by at least 10. Good race, boys. Dave, just start doing the standings already. It's just going to be KP, Worthless, Mink, maybe T-Combi on the podium. And the other lot can sort themselves out. Jameer gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. You don't want to do that. Don't do that. Don't do what Jameer did. Oh my god. Dawson promised me an end to that. Dawson, bro. Ted's leg, for real. Do we think? T-Crombie a lot closer on this lap though, 5.5 tenths is the gap, but still not putting any pressure on Mink and allowing Mink to regain some of his battery, which you might want to be wary of here. T-Crombie is going to have to put some pressure on if he doesn't, if he wants Mink to run out of battery. Reese Thomas going for a move on Thomas. Thomas making a bit of contact. I don't think it was substantial enough to make damage on either of them, but both on 11% ERS, so fighting hard for this place as Ben goes for a nice little spin-a-rooney. He's still P10 though. Every time he spins, he stays P10. Joshua goes in for a set of mediums. So hard tyres off, mediums on. T-Crombie is still so close to the Merc. He has 70% battery. Mink has 32. And using a bit on exit. Yellow sector 2. VRT Robin retires from the session in the pit lane. And Ben goes for another spin. Yet still holds that P11. He's going to spin this corner, watch. Oh, he's also lost a wing, so Ben Finch going to have to box at the end of this lap. OTL Jack currently running a very consistent race. And there might be more scraps between these two, as they are very close coming out the final corner. 2 tenths separate them. Thomas is going to need some awesome defence from Thomas if he wants to keep this place from Thomas. Thomas going for the inside, Thomas on the outside. Can Thomas take the place away from Thomas into the first corner? Thomas leads Thomas, and Thomas puts himself up into P8 and Thomas down into P9. Make that make sense. Basically, McLaren overtake AlphaTauri, McLaren P8, AlphaTauri P9. Ted, oh, Ben Finch now retires in the pit lane. So another joins. Put me in a good car. Thomas. To be fair, Dave, no, I'd probably say Thomas. Personally. I think Thomas is better than Thomas. If you see it that way. Oh, we have a safety car. Safety car. And KP has managed to get into the pit lane. worth this eagle as well, and this might be a bit before his pit window, and he is going to screw over his teammate, and they are going to have to double stack at Mercedes. Nothing Mink could do about it. Pampoli also into the pit lane along with Keanu, who has got himself up into P6. So KP very fortunate there, managing to get out in time. And T. Crombie now finds himself P3. Mink has dropped 2. Dave, what are you saying no about? Oh, you've already got... on. Spend the pit lane. Oh, 5 seconds. L. Everyone pitting now. No, I said low, not L. Can't lie, I need a piss. Hold up, boys. Oh my god, Ted has spun out the Mercedes under safety car. Do 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 do. Here we go then. Safety car restart. Can T Crombie take away P1 from KP Games? 13 laps remaining in this Grand Prix. We have passed the halfway point. And when does KP choose to go? He has gone. And T Crombie gets quite a good restart. OTR Jack pulling into the pit lane on the safety car restart. Joshua picking up a 3-second penalty. That means Pam Polly is up into P4, Keanu P5. And then we have a couple of moves at the back. Joshua making it past the Lion Cookie. T Crombie stays in P2 for the restart. Jameer also spinning, I believe, under safety car. But through Dunlop curve we go. KP leads for the 14th lap this race. Because A. Dawson led one before killing himself. Why Jack pit? I'd probably say damage. Oh, softs. Are you joking? Everyone quite spaced out on this restart though. Thomas rather close to his teammate on the hard tyres. Redcow on the mediums, so a few on separate tyres, but most of them opting for the hards for the second stint. Thomas now getting the move done on Reese Thomas, who I believe spun. I wasn't paying attention. But I think he spun, so that means Red Cow Racing and Thomas now up into P7 and 8. Worthless Eagle is going to try fight back from P6 after getting spun by Ted under safety car. Pam Polly P5, Keanu is now up into P4. We'll be looking to get up into the podium places. Jameer now spins. So not the day he would have wanted. keeping the pressure on T. Crombie after swapping under safety car. Kiernan now overtaken by Josh, who's up into the points paying positions, so P10 for him. Reese Thomas losing a bit of ground on the AlphaTauris. 10 laps remaining now, and at this moment it looks like it's going to go to KP, but Keanu is on a charge on the hard tyres. Definitely better pace than he had in the first stint, and will be looking to gain the two ahead of him, and for his sake hopefully pass them and look to get after KP, but that's quite the ask for Keanu. Has not won a race this season so far, and this is his last one, so make it special. And he's now caught up to the front two. Take such a retard. Shit, sorry, I forgot that Keanu was past Mink. Will now be looking to pass T. Crombie, his good friend, for P2. Hopefully no contact though, please. I want Ted to finish on this podium, so that'd be funny as hell. Worthless Eagle is now let through by Mink, because he is on the medium tyres compared to everyone else that is on the hards. OTLR Jack has spun at turn 1. And will Keanu go for the move now? Only 19% ERS. Ted using his battery. 54%, 52 for the pass, and Keanu is going to go for the move on this straight. 4 tenths the gap, 6 tenths the gap, but now he is going to go for it, and Ted is going to defend the position. It's not going to be this time around. He is nowhere near close enough to the Haas. And does not have the ERS to fight this battle. Worthless Eagle now getting in on the fight. snap for the Mercedes. So it's going to hamper his progress and he's going to drop outside of the 1 second mark. His teammate now close. Pampoli, Red Cow Racing. So a bit of a train forming behind T. Crombie from P2 to P7. So if anyone makes a mistake, it could be costly. And can definitely drop you to P7 or less. Keanu is now going to go for the move. Ted is not defending. Still not defending. And they're going to go side by side into 130R. Keanu on the inside gets the move done. Is Ted going to fight this into the last chicane? He's not. He slips behind, hoping to get the DRS on the straight and maybe pass the Ferrari back for P2. He gets a really good exit. And the gap only 3/10 using his DRS. But he is not going to be able to get the move done into the first corner. And Keanu keeps that place now up into P2. And we'll be finally seeing the old Keanu that we saw in Season 2 when he was at Red Bull. This is his last race. I'm actually hearing things. And we have a safety car. I'm sorry, I'm so delayed. My brain is not clocking at the moment. So we have another safety car here. And can or will Keanu take the gamble onto the hard tyres? If KP does it, he's thrown away this race. But Keanu might have the pace to do so. Let's see what happens with KP. Is he going to pit? Chooses to stay out. Keanu boxes. T. Crombie stays out. Worthless Eagle boxes. Mink stays out. Pampoli boxes. Red Cow stays out. Thomas boxes. Joshu stays out. Reese Thomas boxes. Saeed stays out. The Line Cookie. Oh, you ruined the pattern. Stays out. So there we go. T. Crombie back up to P2. Keanu down to P7 has also lost the place to Worthless Eagle. So he is going to be on the soft tyres, but he has to make his way through a lot of cars that are still on the hard tyres. And I don't know how quickly the soft tyres do last. Ted, please stay on the safety car. Thanks, Ted. Quite the train. But we can see what kind of progress these two Mercedes will make. The Mercedes and the Ferrari. It's a big gamble. Everyone below P8 staying. Boxing. For softs. Jameer and OTL Jack need to catch up to the pack. So probably another lap at least. to get this race started. Save. Hi Dylan, where you been? There wasn't an Alfa Romeo out first on every lap. I was actually getting quite sad. So, safety car is going to be in on the next lap, which means it's another lap that the soft runners have to wait for to get their progress started. Ideal. This race started. Here we go then, safety car in this lap for the second time with KP and T. Crombie at the front, Mink this time in P3. To be fair, he might have been P3 last time, but KP goes earlier this time, gets the jump on T. Crombie. Mink has had an awful restart, he's going to be under loads of pressure from Red Cow Racing. Red Cow Racing is going to go for the move, a tenth back from the Mercedes into the first corner. He's going to pull to the outside, not enough going for him though. He slots back in to P4, and we can see the progress that the soft tyre runners are going to make. Keanu pushing Worthless Eagle through these corners, and Worthless Eagle trying to make a move on the Haas, who's very slow, having to bump draft him going through onto Dunlop curb. I think the Mercedes has just got to realise he is in a Mercedes with soft tyres, and the line cookie is in a Haas on old hard tyres. Keanu now picking up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And is he going to send it? He's going to pull to the outside. Worthless Eagle, though, goes for the move on the Haas. And there's contact, and Red Cow Racing is in the barriers, and he's lost part of his wing. And he is out of the fight for P4. Joshua now moves up into 4th place. T. Crombie and KP are staying quite close together here. And is T. Crombie going to challenge KP for this victory? Keanu is now going to go for a move on the inside of 130R. Can he get the move done? Worthless Eagle hangs it around the outside. They're going side by side. Little bit of contact made. Worthless Eagle just about stays on the track. They're going side by side now into the next chicane. Who can get the move done? Keanu on the inside, still side by side. Who is going to get the DRS? Bit of contact made. Worthless Eagle has to back out. They're still going side by side. It looks like Keanu has finally got the move done, and a great bit of racing between the two of them. We have Yellow's Sector 3 for Red Cow Racing, who has spun, and Keanu really had to fight for that P6. Red Cow Racing now leaving the session, and that is a DNF for the AlphaTauri driver. We only have 1 lap remaining after this until the checkered flag, and look at the grip Keanu has on the soft tyres. He's going to pull to the inside of Degner 1, doesn't quite pull it off, but he is going to continue this battle on into the hairpin. Saeed now picking up a penalty. Is that going to drive Keanu towards the inside? They're going to make a bit of contact. Saeed gets pushed wide, and he's going to have to yield 2 positions almost to his teammate as Keanu barges his way through and up to P5. The progress continues. Only 15% ERS though. Worthless Eagle has about 40%, and the favour in the Mercedes for that little battle. And Keanu now pushing to catch up to the Alfa Romeo. T. Crombie has dropped to 1.3 seconds, and he only has 1 more lap to secure P2 in the Haas. Mink currently P3. Keanu with the fastest lap of the race, 0.8 off as we move on to the last lap of this race, and the last lap for Keanu in Dryline Racing League. And we can see whether he can get himself up into P4 or whether his progress will be stopped. But it looks like it's going to be another victory for KP. His challenger DNFing on the first lap, and has controlled all of the 26 laps. He has been leading. He still has half a lap to go though, the gap up to 2 seconds, and a stellar drive from the Haas. But Keanu now sending it down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, making a bit of contact on the exit. Can Keanu now go for a podium? He does have 5 seconds though worth of penalties, and although this is going to be a good drive from him, it's not going to quite be enough to secure this P4. I think he'll drop to P7 maybe, but using all the ERS he has. Look at the speed Josh has on the outside. Worthless Eagle now going around the outside of the Ferrari. That doesn't matter though. KP Games taking home another victory for the Milton Keynes outfit. He crosses the line with a bad ankle to take home another P1. A stellar drive from T. Crombie taking home P3. Mink takes home P3, sorry, T. Crombie P2. Pampoli moves up onto the podium, and on his last race in Dryline Racing League, it's gone to nothing for Keanu. Donuts at the end, taking home 6 wins in his career, another 5 podiums, and he has had a good run. His prime season 2, but as he sits on the start-finish straight, a good career for him, and his last race for Ferrari ends outside of the points, but a good drive from him, good battles with Worthless Eagle. He finishes P13. Not what he would have wanted, but I'm sure he enjoyed himself on that final lap. And KP taking home another victory. KP, bro, you got to change that email on the podium. It's not good enough. Look at that podium. 3 different constructors, Red Bull, Haas and Alpine on the podium. A stellar drive from T. Crombie. Getting P2 in a realistic Haas. Spray that champagne, my boy. Pampoli, P3 on penalties, overtaking Mink. So another amazing drive from him. But there we go then. Winner KP, T. Crombie P2, Pampoli P3, Mink P4, losing out on that podium due to penalties. Joshu P5, Worthless Eagle is P6, Thomas P7, Reese Thomas is P8, OTLR Jack P9, The Line Cookie P10, P11 is Saeed, Jameer P12, Keanu on his final race in Dryland Racing League, having a bit of fun at the end, finishes P13. Red Cow Racing P14, Kiernan P15, Ben Finch, who DNF'd, or pulled into the pit lane, P16, VRT Robin had a crash, P17, A Dawson crashing out at the start, P18, and then Mike rounding out the top 19 with a crash on the first lap. That was quick. We will see you all for, what will it be? It'll be round 10 next week. So look forward to that at the Austin Grand Prix.